want to talk about self-talk today, and mainly identifying and changing your negative self-talk. Now, this has come up in other videos, and it comes up, in a lot of different ways, but I really want to get into it here because it's something that is huge, and it comes up for people all the time, and I'm really finding more and more that it's at the root of a lot of people's issues and a lot of the reasons why you're stuck. So the idea is you've created these really negative tapes for yourself, likely, and they keep playing and playing and playing and playing in your head. So when you try to go to make changes, or you want to make a change and you mess up and you fail, then the tape plays again and you're again stuck. And it just is this cycle that goes over and over and over again. And as much as you try to make change and to interrupt the cycle and to be positive and I'm really going to do it this time, it doesn't work, right? And what it comes down to a lot of times is you haven't actually changed that tape. You're still playing the same tape. You're still being so negative to yourself. Now, the idea of this isn't to be positive and sugar-coated and great, right? That's not going to do you any good, and that's not what I'm saying at all, okay? What we actually want to do is we want to be way more realistic, but also empowering and positive. So it's not going to do you any good to say, I am going to kick this addiction and I will never watch porn again because I am a superhero and I'm amazing, okay? Maybe some of those things you can put in an affirmation, and that would be great. But that isn't really what you're going to say to yourself when you relapse or when you fail or when something happens, because that's not helpful. What also isn't helpful is you saying, I am an idiot and I will never move past this, ever. Like, I can't. I won't. I don't know why I even bother. I'm blank, 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 right? Probably way more negative than that is where you go in your head, and way more shame-filled and way more harmful. If that's the tape you're playing in your head, of course you're messing up. Of course you're going to relapse. Why wouldn't you? You're crap, right? You suck. You can't do it. So if you keep playing that in your head, you're never going to get past this. Now, so I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that we want to change it into something positive. We want to change it into something more realistic, and the key is something you can do something about, okay? So let's say that you do relapse. You watch porn, maybe you act on an urge, you go do something else, whatever it is, you relapsed, you feel bad about it. The shame comes up, negative self-talk starts to go. You're going to all those negative places, and you were saying things about yourself that are really, really harsh. What we want to do there is start to learn to switch that into something more realistic and powerful and non-judgmental. So own it. I messed up. I relapsed. I did this. And this is what I can do about it. And this is what I can do about it next time. And rebuild yourself in a way that gives you power to do something. Like, I recognize that at this point I started to plan and act to really act on that urge. And at that point I should have reached out to somebody. And I'm going to make a plan for how I'm going to reach out to somebody next time. And that doesn't mean that I am worthless. That doesn't mean that I can't do this. That means that I'm human and I messed up, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to keep working. And I know that if I keep working, eventually I will get there. So that's a lot more empowering. That's something that you can do something about. That's something that now you have a plan for how you'll do something about it. Now, this isn't something that changes quickly. It's not something that happens overnight. A lot of times you're not even aware of the negative tapes and the negative self-talk that you're playing in your head. So the first step is to become more aware of it. Try to think about, and maybe at the end of your day. So at the end of today, think, okay, was I more negative on myself than I needed to be? And if so, in what ways was I more negative? And try to think about it and be more mindful. And then move that to trying to think about that in the moment. So when something comes up and you're like, man, and you go super negative and really start thinking harsh things about yourself, catch yourself and be like, oh, yep, there that is. I'm going to be more mindful of that, and I'm going to stop that right there. I'm not going to go more into that thought. So that's something that you can keep working on and keep practicing. And then the activity that I really think is powerful and really helpful, and you can do this, working through after a relapse or after something happens, or you can just do it in general. But write down a list of your negative self-talk, right? Write down a whole list of it. As mean or as harsh as it is, write down all the negative things that you think about yourself. And then I typically just write a list, do a line down the middle of the paper or on the computer, and then on the other side, challenge that thought. So if the thought is, I am terrible and I will never get past this addiction, challenge it. Be like, this is really hard. It's really difficult. I've created a lot of negativity around this, but I am now getting the help that I need to kick this, and I'm going to keep trying until I get there. And every time I fail, I'm going to keep trying. Okay? So it's not an overly positive affirmation. It's actually more realistic, but it's empowering. And do that for every thought that you come up with. So if this is post-trigger, let's say you do something, you act on something, write all the negative self-talk you have around that and challenge all of those statements. Or if this is in general, maybe put down the top 5 negative thoughts you have about yourself and challenge those. And really work to challenge those in a as I said, and I'm going to keep saying, a really empowering way. Something that you can do something about. I'm going to keep trying. I know I will fail, but every time I fail, I'm going to keep trying until I get it right. Right? That's empowering. That's something you can do about it. It's something you can do about this. So keep trying, keep working through this. This is something that takes a lot of time to make a difference in a big way, but it will start to make a difference in small ways. And over time, the more you practice and the more you create those more affirming and positive statements, the more those will start to come up instead of the negative. But that takes time, and that takes you continuing to reinforce this. Continue reinforcing it until it becomes more of a habit. And eventually it will become more of a habit, and you will be a lot more positive with yourself, which means you will be making real change, and you will be actually meeting the goals that you set, which means you will be a lot happier, and you will be a lot more fulfilled in your life. So keep trying and keep practicing, and reach out to us if you have any issues with this. We're happy to help.